industry in many areas. So I'm wondering if you can talk about what are you looking for out of tax reform? Are there particular areas where you want to cut back on focused tax breaks to give to an overall tax break, or what's on your mind?
We want to make sure that the tax breaks that we give, credits, exemptions, deductions, refunds, are reviewed regularly to make sure they're still in the best interests of Coloradans. So a lot of our tax breaks have been in statute since 1930s. And so we set in a process, we passed a bill a few years ago to have the state auditor, who is independent, nonpartisan, just look at those and say, are they achieving their purpose? Is there a better way to achieve that purpose? She did her first report. It was issued maybe in September, and she noted that several of these tax breaks in statute aren't being utilized at all, and those are some from the 1930s, so we do need to be looking at our statutes and updating them. So I think what both Senator Court, and I know she won't be shy about expressing her own opinion. We just want to make sure that we're always modernizing and looking at our tax credits to say, are these our priority? Or this is, because they're all a use of state resources. And is this the best way for us to be using our state resources? So she and I want to make sure. The other thing is, given Colorado's unique tax structure with Tabor, once you put these in laws, if you ever try and repeal them, if a repeal date isn't set, you basically are never allowed to do that, because Tabor says you can't make tax policy changes that result in a net revenue gain without going to voters. So you can have a very simple tax credit, decide this isn't worth it, or we should make better use of money in a different way, and you'd have to go to voters, and that's timely, uncertain, confusing to voters and that sort of thing. So we definitely want to be thoughtful about the tax credits that we have. And I think that's a piece of what Governor Polis is talking about that we support.
Are there particular tax credits you are eyeing right now? You've seen some of the ones that are outdated, although those aren't generating a lot of savings right now for businesses. Are there particular ones that you're looking at, or are we still too early in the process to identify those?
We have made our tax code a grant program. I think that that's a mistake. I think we need to look back at these expenditures, see which ones really are getting the bang for the buck. And as the speaker mentioned, we did a bill a few years ago to do a study, and the first study of the value we're getting from tax expenditures has just come out. So we're drilling through that. We will continue to get those reports over the next several years, looking at the bang for the buck. And I am very, very attentive to what we are getting for the money we aren't collecting, because having that usage of the tax code sort of like a grant program is not ideal public policy. So we have to be very careful about what ones we do grant. I have not had a chance to see bills yet about tax expenditures, but any tax expenditure will be coming through the Senate Finance Committee. And as was our habit when I was the chair of the Finance Committee in the House, we are probably going to be putting sunsets on all of them so that we can reevaluate, review them down the line in a few years, because just because it's a good idea when we look like we've got money doesn't mean it's going to continue to be a good idea when we go into a recession and we have to start massaging the budget.